And the ball is in the air, and the back tap controlled by Irvine and Brad Green. So here's Iyasu Worku. Worku gets the high screen from Green. Bounce pass in the lane. We got a quick whistle. Jalen Johnson will be charged with his first personal foul. The transfer from St. Louis, originally from Baton Rouge, spent a couple of years with the Billikens. And so Johnson with his first personal, first team foul. Artest, they work it around. Edgar had the touch, the double team, down the low block, the drive inside for two. And even switching hands, Rutherford. Tommy Rutherford with the bucket, and it's 2-0 Irvine. Irvine just came out, slow start, had a big game inside in the paint against Detroit Mercy here a couple of days ago. And Kobe Julian had the ball, now Duguay with the touch. Timer inside of 10, cradles the ball, throws up a wild jump hook, does not even draw the iron, and Tommy Rutherford clears for the Anteaters. Deep in the corner, wide open, Edgar for three, swish! John Edgar Jr. with the bucket for three, and it's 5-0 Irvine. So maybe there's something to playing back-to-back games, because yesterday Detroit Mercy came out and they were totally flat against Louisiana. Louisiana with that victory yesterday as Julian drives, lays it up, won't go down. 0 for 2 from the floor are the Ragin' Cajuns. And then Edgar again. Now this side for three. He hit one from each corner. One from each corner for John Edgar Jr. His dad played at the University of Arizona in 1986. The Pac-10 championship team played alongside Steve Kerr. 8-0. Cross by Johnson, has the ball raked away ahead of the field, and that layup will go down. As Worku scores, and it's a 10-0 early advantage very quickly for UC Irvine. So we'll watch again in transition as Kobe Julian had the ball, and then up top, Jalen Johnson, ball knocked away, and here comes the finish by Iyasu Worku. 10-0 in the first couple of minutes. What a start for UC Irvine. And this was a big game coming in for Irvine. Edgar hit one from the left side, there from the right. Man, they are just hitting everything in sight. And that's the other three-pointer from deep in the other corner. Edgar fouled out of the game here on Sunday, wound up with 10 points, and he was 0 for 2 from three-point range. Today's 2 for 2 already, and just 2 minutes gone by. What a start for the Anteaters. And we mentioned at the start, just 6 losses, 31 wins a season ago, and they already have 4 losses, so this is not a program that is accustomed to losing. Julian, again, just 5 points yesterday. There's Julian in the lane, and he draws the foul. So Louisiana trying to get off the schneid. For the Ragin' Cajuns, as we said, if you tuned into yesterday's broadcast, it was just the second game yesterday, second game with all 12 players suited. They've had a rash of injuries in the early going, and first free throw is good by Kobe Julian, the redshirt freshman out of Baton Rouge. What we have for the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, the last three players of the year in the state of Louisiana. So you have the freshman Malik Wilson, starts at the 2 guard. You have Kobe Julian and Cedric Russell. Those three, the last 3 players of the year in the state. It's a 10-2 ball game after that quick 10-0 run. Low block, Green gets it out. Worku for 3, bangs in. Irvine is on fire. There's good penetration, the drive off the miss. Johnson cleans it up for 2 on the putback. Off the miss from Trajan Wesley. And Jalen Johnson, they're going to need him to catch fire early. He reached his average yesterday of 18, but he was kind of quiet in doing so, other than one monster dunk. Cedric Russell. Russell up top. That was a little bit of a moving screen, and Wesley, they get the paint touch, a drive by Duguay, up off glass. Will it stick? No, but he will go to the free throw line. 9 points, 11 boards yesterday for Duguay. So Duguay, who chose the University of Louisiana over Oklahoma State, the likes of East Carolina, Arkansas, Texas Tech was in the recruiting mix. St. John's was in the mix. And one more coming up. Austin Johnson reports in for the Irvine Anteaters, who broke out on top 10-0. And now Louisiana is going to try to cut into that lead as much as possible. Irvine is red hot. So second free throw coming up. A 13-5 game. Now the pressure picking up in the backcourt. Playing a zone, and they stay in that zone. The lob underneath. There's Austin Johnson, who can't finish. Johnson has the ball stolen away. It's taken away by Kobe Julian of Louisiana. Dribble drive by Wesley. Wesley gets all the way inside of the penetration dribble. Now here's Julian Johnson, lays it up for two. Jalen Johnson with a bucket for two. 13-7 contest. So it's a 6-point game. There's Worku. They're sagging off on him, and they've got Duguay guarding him. And now Duguay steps into the passing lane, got the deflection. Here's Artest, spin move in the lane, little floater, rolls in. Jerron Artest, the son of Meta World Peace. Artest from Scottsdale, Arizona, went to Bella Vista Prep. And a foul, we got a timeout. Timeout on the court. 15. The UC Irvine basketball program this Saturday, they have the jersey retirement for Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks, one of their best all-time players. The all-time leading scorer, I believe, still. And a team, I called one of the games in which Brooks played in. They defeated UNLV here and at the Brent Center. Russell triggers from three-point range, tapped out of bounds, same way. And so they'll retire his number this Saturday. And I come from this era that UC Irvine had powerhouse teams. They had Kevin McGee, who played, I think, in 80 to 82, and he was an All-American, probably the best player they've ever had. In 1981, he was the two-time, back then it was the PCAA, the Pacific Coast Athletic Conference, and he was the leading scorer, the player of the year twice, off the miss. Devin Cole into the game for the Anteaters. Also in, Isaiah Lee, three-pointer, that's Velp, that rings out. Colin Velp. Velp had 18 rebounds here a couple of days ago. The block inside by Johnson on that penetration drive by Tyrus Smith. And we go back the other way. Velp again up top, deep in the corner. Wide open look for Isaiah Lee. Swish from three-point range. Isaiah Lee, the 6'2 freshman from Sydney, Australia. Yeah, they had a coach back then in the 80s, Bill Mulligan, and one of the most colorful guys, jolly guy, I should say, that you could ever imagine. That double clutch lay-in for two. Trajan Wesley for Louisiana, and it's a 9-point lead. And we've got a foul in the lane as John Edgar Jr. gets hammered inside. I think Tyrus Smith was there defensively. And it is on Smith. That'll be his second personal. Tyrus Smith yesterday had a terrific game from the field. He was perfect. He was 5 out of 5. And Edgar at the line. Edgar now with 7 points in the game. With 2 triples, 1 from each corner. We saw where UC Irvine just had so many good looks in the paint against Detroit Mercy, and they could not get shots to fall. And they were walking in. That's one of the weaknesses of Detroit Mercy. Second free throw is good. Now 8 points in the contest for John Edgar. As we said, he fouled out on Sunday, and he was 0 for 2 from three-point range. Averaged 6 points, 3 rebounds as a junior, and averaging about the same right now for Irvine. Cedric Russell, ball's knocked away again. Mad scramble, possession arrow going the same way. So Louisiana will maintain possession. They're doing a good job clamping down on Russell, but that time that was unforced. Trying to hit a bad board on the court. 14 on the timer. And 14 minutes to go here in the first half. Coming to you live from Las Vegas. It's college basketball presented by BD Global Sports. Drive in the lane and a whistle on the foul and a traveling call. Cedric Russell again, maybe trying to do too much. You can't get all those points back in a hurry. But the difference in this game, yeah, that's 3 steps right there. I'm not going to try to jinx this, but we haven't had a video review yet, okay? Yesterday we had one within the first minute of play. And Krause, he will travel on the other end, Aiden Krause. Aiden Krause from Queensland, Australia. Had 3 points in 15 minutes on the floor against Detroit Mercy. And the turnover back the other way. 20-9, UC Irvine with the advantage. Duguay. Julian behind a Smith screen. Nice ball screen and the bucket for 3. Kobe Julian, who had just 5 points here a couple of days ago. And they cut the lead down to 8. This Rutherford, there's your paint touch. Lee, wide open lefty, 3-point range. And that's too long. And Louisiana, a chance to chip into this lead a little bit more. There's Wesley up top. He's going to be guarded by Devin Cole. Wesley will back it out. The high screen is there for him. The ball screen by Tyrus Smith. Now the drive, and Trajan Wesley's tripped up. So Wesley had a little bit of the cross, and then he runs into traffic, and then tangled up with Devin Cole. PJ Hardy checks in for the Ragin' Cajuns. See some of the Go Cajun signs here. We don't see Zot Zot signs for the Anteaters, though. It's like one of their battle cries. Smith underneath, throws it up, can't get it to fall. There's Isaiah Lee. Lee, the trailer was Velp. Over to Cole, they look for the post up. One dribble and done. Here's Velp, head of the circle, 3-pointer, hail the iron and off. And Kobe Julian to clear for Louisiana. Hardy Jr. back up top. Julian, nice move. He swings it in and can't get the bucket to fall. Boy, he had a nice pivot maneuver in the paint. But nothing happening there. Is Velp off the double team. Swing it around, Krause wide open deep in the corner, Devin Cole, and he stepped out of bounds. And a turnover. First half of play, UC Irvine shooting 58% from the field and 50% from behind the arc at 4 out of 8. Louisiana 4 for 12 shooting. And there's a little lean-in jumper by Wilson. Throws up an air ball from short range. Back the other way. Lee had it, spun away. Back over to Lee. Krause. And now they'll try to reset. They go short corner underneath Rutherford. Jump hook. Automatic. Absolutely automatic for Tommy Rutherford. He's 2 out of 2 from the field. Now you see why he shoots 73%. He's so good around the 10. Julian on the angle on the left side. Duguay drives off glass. That running one-hander will not go down. So Irvine back up by 10, looking to add to that. Velp, three-pointer, swish! A three-pointer, blistering hot. Now 5 out of 9 from distance for Irvine. Looking to put this game away early. Deep in the corner, there's Devin Cole, wanted the trigger instead. Here's Velp again, three-pointer, swish! And that is deflating. Duguay just put his hands down after he was closing and contests the shot. And Louisiana can't do anything right at this moment, down by 16. Nice cut inside, layup two. Jalen Johnson. It was a good high to low game for the Ragin' Cajuns. And for a team like Irvine, I mean, they've been dominating in the paint from what we could tell in their games. Cole, Kraus, dribble penetration in the lane. His runner, no. Duguay clears. Well, we saw 34-6 in the paint against Detroit Mercy. Today they're doing it from every which way. We'll have a rebounding foul. As a body hits the floor, P.J. Hardy gets knocked down on the drive. Irvine even with 4 fast break points to none for the Cajuns. 5 team fouls against Irvine, 2 for the team that, the visiting team on the scoreboard here, Louisiana. Nice screen set. Cedric Russell's been quiet. His little floater won't go down off the rim. The layup attempt no good by Duguay. He gets bumped around. And back the other way, Irvine. Irvine up by 14 points in this contest. Edgar around a green screen. There's the cross by Worku. Timer down to 11. Jump pass inside Johnson. And foul on the floor, they'll say, before the shot. I thought perhaps that Austin Johnson. It's on Wesley. And that'll be his first personal. I thought that Johnson might have shuffled his feet inside. Austin Johnson, one of the premier shot blockers for a freshman, among the nation's leader. There's a steal. Here's P.J. Hardy. P.J. Hardy dribbles in, lays it up, and in. Good use of your body there, P.J., who's just playing now in his 3rd game of the season. You know, last year for P.J. Hardy, he averaged in non-conference games but 3 points, and then in Sun Belt games, he averaged 10. The defense has definitely picked it up, and there's a 2-on-1 break, and the layup attempt is no good. Russell thought he got hammered, calling for the foul. Nice cross work. You get to the baseline. Inside the trailer, can't hit it. Brad Green. Boy, Green had an open look at the bucket. Went a little bit too hard off the rim. For 3, P.J. Hardy counters. Hardy starting to pick. Back to the live action after a short break. 9-point lead for Irvine. So a long way to go here in this first half. Good action end to end. Here's Edgar. Oh, what a big hit. Holy smokes. That was a decleater by Rutherford as he knocks down Trajan Wesley. Now here's Velp. Velp swivel move. He couldn't find a shot up top. They're getting physical now, folks. Let's work you. And a whistle and a loose ball foul. That'll go on Rutherford. Do we have a replay of that screen? I mean, that was insane. Watch this. A little flop. Watching it live, it seemed like it was a big hit. That was a major flop. Is that a little flop? No, that was a major flop. Officials, you need to look at the replay here. Despite my objections yesterday, they still call the flagrant foul. We have a stoppage in play. One of the coaches out of the coaching box. Clock in the corner on each end of the court. 56% shooting from the floor for Irvine to 37% for Louisiana, but they're 2 out of 4, 50% from three-point range, and they add to that. Duguay with the bucket. And this is an 8-0 run, folks. So the Go Cajun fans, both here and down on the bayou, starting to rally back as our test travels. And on Irvine, that'll be the 6th turnover here in the first half. Just 3 turnovers for Louisiana. The top scorer is John Edgar Jr. with 8 points so far. 6 for Jalen Johnson of Louisiana, and 5 apiece for P.J. Hardy off the bench and Kobe Julian of the Ragin' Cajuns. Duguay, he's going to work on Green, kicks it back out, cross court. Hardy sets it up for 3, front of the iron and off. A battle for the rebound underneath. Calvin Temple into the game, comes down with it. Step back 3 from Johnson is good. 11-0 run, 11-0. How about this, folks? We've got a good one here. Clark High School in Vegas. There's work, you bounce pass down. Rutherford, automatic, 3 out of 3. He gets the touchdown deep, and he finishes it off on a whistle on the foul. Back the other way against Ayaso Worku. And Worku can't believe it, and that'll be a second personal. So Worku has 2 fouls, and no one else with more than 1. Yeah, mark the score. It's a 10-0 run because that was just a 2 on that deep shot. But Hardy Jr. goes to the line, and he's been the catalyst. And he misses the front end of the 1-and-1. Yeah, 10-0 run. It's 28-14. They got a bucket in there. Well, it's not a 10-0 run. There's 2 buckets back-to-back by Rutherford. So Tommy Rutherford now with 8 points in the game. Triggering is Duguay. 1 and done for Louisiana. Looking to break out. Up top, Rutherford. He'll get it over to Edgar Jr. Pull up on the baseline. Jumper for 2. And so John Edgar Jr. now in double figures. He has 10 points, and it's blown back up to a 10-point advantage for Irvine after Louisiana just cut it down to 4. So it's a 6-0 run. And that pass is thrown away. Edgar had the right idea. The trailer was Tommy Rutherford. And so it'll be turnover number 7 on UCI. The second half against Detroit Mercy, Irvine just went absolutely cold from behind the arc, in which they were just 1 for 16. 1 for 16 in the second half. And here already this afternoon, Irvine 6 out of 10 from behind the arc. A couple of big 3-pointers by Colin Velp. John Edgar Jr. with 2 big 3s. For 3, here's Kobe Julian of Louisiana. And off the miss, we've got John Edgar Jr. Side Isaiah Lee. Velp, they cover him up now as Johnson's guarding. On the angle, there's Artest. Artest had a real rough outing last time out. Jump hook, Rutherford, once again, he's perfect from the field. He's 5 out of 5.
Remember, 5:18.
They said to change the clock. There's the dribble penetration. Julian gets inside, and he scores over John Edgar Jr. 36-26 Irvine. They jumped out on top 10-0. We saw a good 10-0 run by Louisiana. Now our test for 3. That's going to be long, and Karam's all the way out of bounds. Jerron Artest has not been shooting the ball particularly well. He had a little spurt yesterday where he stepped out of bounds, or a couple days ago on one play, turned it over, and then missed a big shot. Just kind of got discouraged, and that's going to happen with a freshman. Just 1 out of 6 from the field was Jerron Artest against Detroit Mercy. So Jalen Johnson handling the basketball. And then it's picked up by Malik Wilson, and almost a turnover. Another reason why I hate the weave. Get rid of the weave in basketball. The double team was clamped down on Johnson. 3-pointer is on the way, and that is good by Wesley. Trajan Wesley connecting from distance. Back to a 7-point game. Louisiana, very stubborn, will not go away. Raging Cajuns at 4-2. High post, it goes to Welp. Welp deep in the corner. Ball fake, Artest gets around his man. Edgar's wide open for 3, and he can't make that happen. And now the rebound to the Raging Cajuns, trying to cut this lead down from 7. Bounce pass in the lane, will get a kick ball. And so, outscoring Louisiana 9-5. So off the kick ball before that timeout, it came in bounds. Kobe Julian gets bumped up top. And now they'll set up the play with Trajan Wesley with 12 on the shot clock. There's Wesley, nice cross, gets into the lane, dishes it off, and the foul will happen before the move to the basket. Wow, 8th team foul, 8 team fouls. 18 fouls against Irvine, so free throws the rest of the way. Disparity there in the fouls is 3 fouls against Louisiana. 10 points apiece in the first half for John Edgar Jr. and for Tommy Rutherford to lead UC Irvine. And Wesley earns the bonus. Trajan Wesley, yesterday 6 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, no turnovers in the game against Mercy. Did not turn the ball over. And today, he's got a couple of assists and no turnovers. That's good ball control by the sophomore from Navasota, Texas. 2 free throws are good. And Louisiana gets to within shouting distance, trailing by 5. There's Lee, cross court, it goes over to Edgar Jr., who's already made 2 threes. Krause for a 3-point attempt, no. Cleaned up underneath, Johnson for 2 on the stick back. Austin Johnson. Good positioning inside for Austin Johnson of Irvine, and the lead back up to 7. Dribble penetration, and off the miss as Wesley was trying to drive inside, might have hooked his man. Good defense there by Julian. He'll tap it out of bounds, and Irvine will have the basketball with 24 on the timer. Cedric Russell, who's been MIA today, 0 for 3. Russell yesterday, 16 points, his average against Detroit Mercy, but those were quiet points. Here's Velp inbound. He starts to back his man Johnson down. His turnaround jump hook is off the mark, and the rebound to Johnson. So Jalen Johnson now with his 3rd rip of the game. There's Russell to Julian. Down the low block. Here goes Smith. Turnaround jump hook. No. He follows up the shot. Out of bounds and last touched by the Anteaters of UC Irvine. So we check Brad Green coming back into the lineup for UC Irvine. And Tommy Rutherford, perfect 5 out of 5 from the floor, returns for UC Irvine. They get it in bounds, way up top. And that's Cedric Russell. Russell quiet so far. Russell 0 for 3 from the floor. Russell got the ball screen. Wide open 3, Jalen Johnson. Bucket won't go. Foul on Rutherford. 3 shots up for Jalen Johnson. That's one of those fouls that you go, why? Yeah, he just hammers him on the arm, and then Johnson sells it by falling down. So 3 free throws coming up Chance to get this back to a 4-point deficit for Louisiana. Jalen Johnson, a couple of years out of St. Louis. When he walked in the gym, I said, this kid looks familiar. Where do I know him from? Well, I think he played in the MGM Resorts main event against BYU when he was at St. Louis as a freshman. He definitely played in that game. Colin Velp, he'll return for the Anteaters of UC Irvine. It's the third meeting between the two schools, one apiece. 2 out of 3 from the line for Jalen Johnson, and it's a 5-point lead for Irvine. Edgar Jr., they whip the ball around. It goes deep in the corner. Aiden Krause travel. If they didn't call it, I was going to call it from here. They're listening to me today. It's great having the replay monitor right in front of us because they get to hear my commentary as well. It's like the added bonus. Where else could they go around the nation to get that commentary? MGM Resorts main event. And tonight, again, the doubleheader at the T-Mobile Arena right there on the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. Here on Flow Sports, Jeff Nathanson with the call at 6 o'clock, TCU against Wyoming. Then on ESPN at 8:30, Colorado ranked 23 currently in the latest polls against Clemson. Off the deflection, Green with the deflection, steal by Isaiah Lee. Lee, lob pass to no one and out of bounds. He was looking for Colin Velp, and good defense underneath the basket anyway for Louisiana with 3 players collapsing on the basketball. This is a good one so far. Glad you're enjoying it wherever you're at. I know a lot of you have started the holiday weekend early. Or here at Clark High School, they've been off the entire week. Who gets the entire week off for a holiday anymore? That's Lafayette. Julian, dribble drive, went to go turn, has the ball stripped. Isaiah Lee, Lee coast to coast, goes up off the rim. It just rolled around. The ball just roulettes off the rim. And back to Russell. Russell, guarded by Ortez, uses a little hand motion to push him off. No whistle. Off the miss, just one and done. Under a minute to go here in Vegas in the first half. It's been a good one. And underneath Green, lays it up, and he travels before he can get an end one. Another turnover, and the Anteaters now with 8 turnovers in the contest. They're making 9 turnovers. 9 turnovers. But Louisiana still just 3 turnovers in a pretty good first half. And the shooting has heated up. Well, we saw Louisiana in the low 30s in shooting average in this game. Now, 41%. And that layup attempt, boy, Cedric Russell could not buy a basket today. Cannot. He's 0 for 4. Under 30 seconds. About a 3-second differential. Edgar started his drive. They seal him off on the baseline. A whistle and a foul. Well, it's not a bad call on a foul because you have, a foul to give anyway. A near steal by Julian. That'll be his first personal foul. Kobe Julian, redshirt freshman from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And Malik Wilson will come back in for the Ragin' Cajuns. He will replace Jalen Johnson. Johnson picking up where he left off yesterday with an 8-point first half. And there's our test, 3-point range. Hits the iron, plenty of time. 7, but the steal by Velp, and a lay it up and in. Costly turnover right before the break. Man, that was a costly high school here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I like the games in this gym. It's been a lot of fun this week. And it's a tiny bandbox, but there's Green on the entry pass inside, and he'll just get the easy layup. And he bangs knees with Jalen Johnson, so Johnson was hobbled a little bit, trying to shake it off. Back up to a 9-point lead, and in the lane, drawing the foul, Kobe Julian of Louisiana. And that's against Brad Green. That'll be personal foul number 2. Green last year 27 blocks and shot 48% field goal percentage. Interesting story about Brad Green. He was raised on the Paiute Shoshone Reservation. So he's an American Indian, and there's been several stories written about him, and it has to be like the only American Indian, well, at least that I know of, on the D1 level. So it's down to an 8-point lead. Outside Rutherford, 5 out of 5 in the first half. Swing it around. There's Artest. Artest, who got chewed out by the head coach, Russell Turner, right there at halftime. Sizes up a three-pointer in front of the iron. That's where even a freshman, you got to follow up the shot. You got to follow that up. Down by 8. Louisiana with the basketball. Nice entry pass, the pocket pass, the kick ball on Rutherford. So Jalen Johnson was about to grab the basketball, and a nice bounce pass by Trajan Wesley. Doc Rivers' kid also departed, so they lost a couple of scorers there. I'll tell you, Hazard as a point guard at 6 feet tall could just shoot the rock flat out. We're under 19 to go. That quick timeout by the Raging Cajuns. And that was Kobe Julian, and Julian went up with a shot, no. They battle for the rebound. Julian gets it back, lays it up and in. That's just pure hustle inside for Kobe Julian. So Julian in the game now with 9 points. He was so quiet in the game yesterday, just took 5 shots, landed up with 5 points. So it's down to a 6-point advantage. Oh, nice pass in lane. Rutherford lost the handle though, almost traveled, got it back to work you. They have posted up on the left side of the block. Green, they can't find him. Long range jumper, no good, out of bounds. And last touch by Louisiana. So John Edgar took the shot, but now they started to collapse on Brad Green, who was open initially. He's pushing off. There's a lob in bounds. It goes to Green. He gets hammered from behind. That foul should go against Kobe Julian. You could see that develop even on the previous play, in that the intention was trying to get Brad Green posted up down the low block. Comes in up high, Artest. Around the horn they go, and then the lob pass down low, Greed. Turn around, jump hook, no. Rutherford cleans. Rutherford lays it up and in. 6 out of 6 from the field. 12 points for Tommy Rutherford. Holy smokes, I mean, he was shooting 73% from the field coming into today's game. It's just gonna go up. 3-point bomb on the way, no good by P.J. Hardy. Tapped around and back tapped. Here's Wesley on the drive, and he gets knocked down by Artest. They got tangled up. That'll be the first personal foul. A pretty good on-the-ball defender is Jerron Artest defensively, and he'll just improve. Just 2 points in the game against Detroit Mercy. So Artest comes out of the game. Wesley gets it in. It was Duguay who passed up the jump shot from the perimeter, and then off the miss as he drives inside. Here's Wesley up top. Got a whistle. And what's the call here? Oh, inadvertent whistle. Okay. Inbound to Trajan Wesley. In the corner, here's Duguay. Looked for a cutter, goes up top to Johnson. Johnson, he terminates his dribble outside, and that is Duguay for 3. Duguay. That narrows it down to a 5-point lead. and Duguay in the game with 7 points. The penetration by Edgar now kicks it back at top. Now down the low block, and Rutherford draws the double team. Back outside for Isaiah Lee. Underneath Rutherford. First miss of the day. Newsflash. First miss of the day for Rutherford. And a foul inside. So there's the nice entry pass, and then off balance was Tommy Rutherford, but a rebounding foul whistle. 2 team fouls apiece. And they'll say that Johnson will go to the line in the act of shooting on that follow-up attempt. That rattles in on the first one. Austin Johnson, 15 blocks as of a couple days ago. He was second among freshmen in the conference and 16th nationally in block shots. He had 5 blocks against TCU. Some sort of coming out party. Trajan Wesley, deep in the corner. That's Hardy for 3. Swish! PJ Hardy has come to life today. Hardy with 8 points. Nice stroke. A 4-point lead for Irvine. They led by as many as 16. Around the curl, that was Edgar. They swing it right, work you. The cutter Lee, bounce pass in the lane. Johnson goes up, he's fouled. They'll get Duguay inside. So Duguay from Dakar, Senegal. You know, here's a guy that played in Japan his freshman year. And he was named in Japan the National Player of the Year in Japan in college basketball. I don't know if they have D1, D2, D3, or any of that, but yeah, at his level, whatever it was, that's big news. And then he went to Daytona State, and now he winds up at Louisiana with a lot of schools looking for his services. First free throw by Johnson was good. His best so far this season, 8 points against Pepperdine. And both free throws by Johnson were good. And he's up to 6 points this afternoon. Once again, a high ball screen. Here's Julian, drive to the basket, goes up high off the glass, can't get it to fall. Scramble on the floor. Possession arrow points to Louisiana. A lot of bodies on the floor right there. 4 or 5 bodies on the floor. Good effort, good impression to go. And John Edgar with 10 for Louisiana, 10 apiece for Jalen Johnson and Kobe Julian. And this guy, PJ Hardy up top, now comes off the bench with 8. Shot clock under 10, down to 8, down to 7. Duguay, cross court, Hardy, three-pointer, fading away! And the lead is down to 3 from 16. A 16-point deficit. Louisiana battling back. Colin Bell off the double team. Boy, Irvine looks a little rattled. There's a foul as Johnson got his man in the air. And that was Jalen Johnson. So the battle of the Johnsons, Austin for UC Irvine, Jalen Johnson for Louisiana. But good ball rotation, side to side, fading away over our test. The three-point jumper for PJ Hardy. And so Austin Johnson, who now has his hand bandaged up. I don't recall seeing that when we started. His left hand. 7 points in the game now for Johnson. And he'll tie his career best right there. The freshman from Marietta, Georgia. So he had 8 points against Pepperdine, 8 points with 15-16 to go here against Louisiana. Louisiana will just not go away. When they faced a 10-0 deficit, trailed by as many as 16, they cut the lead down to 3, and now they have to try to finish things off here. So I think there might be some blood on the shorts of Austin Johnson. Johnson gets cut, gets ripped up, left hand all bandaged up. He's been through a war. Something on his back too. No telling. I'd like to thank the folks that traveled from all over the place, especially the fans from Louisiana. Nice little contingent here at Clark High School. Fun crowd, good times. Las Vegas, big weekend coming up. 300,000 visitors to descend on this town. There's, again, Hardy as he throws up that jumper from the baseline. A whistle and a rebounding foul. Foul on Duguay. And that'll be his first personal. And the 15 foul. So in the second half, reversal on the foul situation, as now 5 with 14 and 48 to go in the ball game. There's Lee. Lee gets it down low again. There's Johnson. He throws it up off glass. Can't get it to fall. He'll go back to the free throw line. Austin Johnson. So the goal, folks, is to play these games or neutral court games and try to get better. Try to improve before you head into conference season. Next make by Johnson would give him a career best as a freshman. You have to have a pretty deep bench, though, to win a couple of games over 3 days or back-to-back games. Back-to-back games like Louisiana today's playing. That one pops out. Battle for the rebound, picked up by Jalen Johnson. And then the steal. The steal by Irvine. Velp for 3. And that draws the front iron. Johnson's an animal. Lays it up with the left hand for 2. Austin Johnson with 10 as he ignites the Irvine Anteaters once again. There's Velp off the miss. Good close up top by Kobe Julian. It's hard to block out that monster inside Austin Johnson. Austin Johnson, 6'9", 233. 7 points and 7 boards. Had a pretty good game against Boise State earlier this season. He'll be a good one once he gets a little bit more seasoning and more reps. 7 of the first 8 games on the road for Irvine. Johnson lift, three-pointer, and that hits the front of the iron and off. The rebound to Isaiah Lee. Kraus up top, Velp, ball fake. Over to Artest, has it knocked away momentarily. And Velp gets fouled from behind by Kobe Julian. And suddenly you have the Louisiana Raging Cajuns over the foul limit. Over the limit. So we're in the bonus. Louisiana, a program to pick to finish 5th in the Sun Belt Conference. Velp free throw is good, earns the bonus. 17 fouls to 2 fouls for UC Irvine. So it's reversed from the first half. And Velp makes good on the second free throw. And we're back up to a 9-point lead. It was 48-45. 6-0 mini run for UC Irvine. For the Anteaters, here's Wesley, turns the corner. Wesley drives all the way around. Now he stops, right side of the key. Up top, Hardy. Hardy, clean look at the basket, draws the foul. So Austin Johnson there defending. He'll get charged with the personal foul. That'll be the first personal on Johnson, the 3rd team foul, and free throws coming up. So P.J. Hardy will go to the free throw line. 5 points yesterday off the bench for Hardy. And he's really fueled this Louisiana comeback of sorts. First was good. as Isaiah Lee checks out. They're going with a little bit of a smaller lineup for Irvine. Brad Green, we haven't seen him in a minute because Austin Johnson has played well in the pivot. Now Rutherford returns for the Anteaters. It's a 7-point lead for UCI, and some token backcourt pressure is going to be applied by Louisiana. Well, after today, both teams get a chance to go home, have a nice Thanksgiving, and then go back on the road. It's grueling for mid-major teams because they got to get those paychecks in. Spin move, Johnson goes up with a shot, travels. He traveled off the bounce. Another turnover, that'll be 11 for UC Irvine. We got some key possessions coming up here. Louisiana trying to cut back into the lead off the weave, and the handoff to Hardy. Hardy behind the back, Hardy in the lane, Hardy with the floater, too hard off the glass, rebounded Johnson. Back the other way, work you around a high ball screen, bounce pass. Here's Rutherford. Rutherford as he works against Smith. The shot clock is down to 13. There's work you with a free throw line jumper for 2. Well, we haven't called his name much today. 7 points, at least in the second half. 7 points for Ayasu Worku from Artesia, California. Los Alamitos High School. Tyra Smith gave it off to Hardy. Hardy in the lane, off the glass again, too hard. Tapped around. Artest comes down with the rebound. And UC Irvine trying to take command of this game again. They swing it around. It goes over to Worku. They look down the low block. Here's Rutherford. Rutherford working on Tyra Smith. Swing it back around. Krause inside Johnson. Ball batted away. Taken away by Tyrus Smith of Louisiana. Hesitation dribble. Wesley. Again, he just runs right through the key on the baseline. Looked for a cutter. Outside Wilson. Three-pointer. Bangs it home. Malik Wilson. Malik Wilson, the 4-star recruit out of Rayville, Louisiana, the freshman. Cuts it back down to a 6-point lead. Don't you work you, man. Work you scores that bucket on the running one-hander. See if we can find out what happened. So there's Tyrus Smith. Yeah, his own man caught him. And that was Christian Lafayette who caught him with an elbow. His own man, Tyrus Smith, but he got him right in the throat. Here's Wilson. Wilson, penetration dribble. Up top, Duguay puts the ball on the floor, whistle, and a reach-in foul. I think that'll be on Ayasu Worku, and it is. He can't believe it. And on Worku, that will be his second personal foul and the 4th team foul with 11:14 to go here from Las Vegas. Boy, Russell's been so quiet. Cedric Russell, 0 for 5 from the field, averaging 16 points a game. Here's Russell on cue, turnaround fadeaway jumper, front of the iron and off, now 0 for 6. And Johnson with the rebound. Here's Malik Wilson with the basketball. He'll back it out, trailing by 8. Gets the ball screen, jump stop in the lane. Russell taps it over and back over to Russell. Final seconds on the timer as it winds down. Artest with the rebound off the miss. And underneath, Edgar Jr. with the reverse layup for 2. Back to a 10-point lead. Well, Louisiana on both ends of the court, a little lackadaisical. They couldn't finish the bucket, and the head coach, Bob Marlin of the Ragin' Cajuns, saw the same thing, and he wants to talk it over, so we'll keep it right here. And so Duguay will trigger it in bounds. Speaks 5 different languages, as we learned yesterday. Kobe Julian up top. He'll work against Edgar Jr. Back up top to Julian. Julian on the baseline. His reverse layup attempt. And that shot is deflected underneath by Austin Johnson. Back the other way, Isaiah Lee. Lee, entry pass, turn around. Rutherford for 2 more. Tommy Rutherford now 7 out of 8. 14 points in the game. And it balloons back up to a 12-point lead for the Anteaters of Irvine. Johnson. The work against Rutherford. Duguay in the lane throws up a floater and can't get that to fall. And suddenly, we've got a Louisiana team that is in a little bit of a drought. Lee up top, Artest. Look down the low block for Johnson. Instead, terminates Lee, cross court, wide open, and that was Edgar and his baseline jumper, and that's off the mark. Back the other way, and running into his man was Malik Wilson. And that foul goes against Isaiah Lee. It's a hard foul. On the breakout, right there we see Malik Wilson, and his man was backing up. That's a good call. That's a good call as Isaiah Lee was still moving his feet, and Wilson goes to the free throw line. Malik Wilson. Wilson had 10 points against Detroit Mercy here yesterday. The 4-star recruit, and last year's Louisiana Player of the Year. So the lead back down to 9. Token pressure again, but Duguay for 6'9" moves very well for a big man, going side to side in that zone, but they break the pressure, and Rutherford with the finish. 16 points in the game for Tommy Rutherford. Back up to an 11-point lead. Duguay for 3. Edgar, transition basketball. Green for 2. Brad Green with the bucket inside, and they're just beating Louisiana now down the court. Transition game, really starting to step it up on fast break opportunities for the Anteaters. 13-point lead. Julian for 3, way off the mark, way off the mark. Isaiah Lee. Edgar Jr. back to Lee. They get the high screen from Green. Now he gives Artest a screen. They're going to look high-low. Nope, they swing on the wing to Edgar. And deep in the corner, that's Isaiah Lee for 3. Fill it up. Fill it up, Isaiah Lee. 69-53. It was not long ago that Louisiana cut this down to just a 6-point lead. And then they cut it down to 3. It was down to 3, actually. Duguay is backing down Green. Throws up a wild jump hook on the baseline, whistle, and a rebounding foul. Kobe Julian grabbed the board, and we've got a timeout on the court by UC Irvine. Here's Hardy, 3-point range, and he connects once again. Boy, P.J. Hardy feeling it today. He now has 16. He's 5 out of 11 from the floor. There's Lee up top. It's nice to get points after a timeout. Velp looking high-low, looked for Green, gave it up. Now Lee, entry pass inside, Green, lefty, 2. So Brad Green inside with the bucket, and Green in the game with 8. And the lead at 15. Hardy, 25-footer, oh, almost down, popped out. And back the other way. There's Lee underneath, an easy 2 for Green. And Tyrus Smith just cannot keep up with the big man. Smith is he's having a rough go of things right now because Brad Green at 270, it's 40 pound differential between those two. Fadeaway jumper, and P.J. Hardy once again. Man, Hardy is in a zone. 18 points of the game for P.J. Hardy. 73-58. 6 minutes remaining now. Edgar turns the corner on Wilson, and the trailer inside. Easy bucket, layup for 2 for Green. But Tyrus Smith he just looks so tired. On the dribble penetration, Trajan Wesley, he gets fouled. That'll be the 6th team foul. And finally, Tyrus Smith gets a breather. He'll be replaced by the sophomore Christian Lafayette. Lafayette yesterday just 1 point in 3.5 minutes. I know that's the 7th team foul on Irvine. So both teams in the bonus the rest of the way. And Wesley earns the 2nd free throw. Trajan Wesley, an 86% free throw shooter for Louisiana. And so far today, he's 3 out of 3. Sizes up the 2nd free throw. And no good, I jinxed him on that one. The rebound was pulled down by Edgar. And you hear the Louisiana bench, they wanted a travel. 16-point lead for UC Irvine. Here's Lee. Lee looked for Velp down the low block. Now they'll reset. Lee cross court. Work you. Down to Green in the low block. Cross court, give and go. Layup 2. Colin Velp scores. The dribble penetration and the bucket there for 2, and a whistle and a foul against the Anteaters, Isaiah Lee. So that'll be the 3rd team foul, or rather the 3rd personal foul on Isaiah Lee. And back to the free throw line for Wesley. I will not mention this time that he is an 87% free throw shooter. Will not mention that. I jinxed him last time. So Isaiah Lee steps out of the lineup for the Anteaters of UCI. A team with wins so far against University of San Diego. First free throw good. Against Life Pacific and against Boise. And Irvine coming into today's game with a 3-game losing streak. Wesley misses the 2nd free throw. So 2 out of his last 4. The lead at 17. Largest advantage of the afternoon for the Anteaters of UC Irvine. Work you terminates. Artest, oh man, what a collision. That was a big, big collision. Wesley and Artest. And those two were going at it at the free throw line. So when Trajan Wesley was shooting his first free throw, he made a free throw, and then all of a sudden, coming into the lane to kind of box him out, was Juron Artest. So right there, they had a big collision. That might not be the end of that. Hardy again. He works on Artest. He shoveled it off. Lafayette with the miss. Short range jumper. Under 5 to go here in Vegas. Length of the court, layup one-hander. Ayasu, work you. And it's a 19-point lead. These back-to-back games are tough probably on every level. And Bob Marlin will take a timeout. So with 4.5 to go, let's see if the Ragin' Cajuns can get a little bit of a run going. Julian up top, wide open look for 3, and he makes it. Again, just nice play coming off the timeout. Kobe Julian caught the ball at the top of the key, and he looked around, nobody was there. He lost his man, Austin Johnson. Johnson getting a good run today. Artest doesn't trigger. Up top, work you. Lob pass inside. Rutherford draws the foul. He's fouled the act of shooting, so Tommy Rutherford will go to the free throw line. Second personal foul on Trajan Wesley of the Ragin' Cajuns. Big football game this weekend for Louisiana. They take on Louisiana Monroe. A great season there for the Ragin' Cajun football team. Well, Rutherford's been near perfect from the field, but he can't make a free throw. He's 0 for 1. That's his first attempt. But 7 of 8 from the field, 14 points in the contest. 4 players for UC Irvine in double figures. Makes good on the second. 80-63. Didn't think it would be this big of a spread. Did not. Well, Russell has not done anything. Outside PJ Hardy, three-pointer. That one was halfway down. Julian cleans and then loses the basketball off of his knee. Isaiah Lee. And he'll get fouled by Trajan Wesley. 2 quick fouls on Wesley. And tonight right here on Flow Sports from T-Mobile Arena at 6 o'clock. It'll be TCU against Wyoming. And then at the nightcap at 8:30, it'll be Colorado, currently ranked 23rd in the nation, against Clemson. That game moving over to ESPN. 61% shooting so far for UC Irvine. Lee makes good on 2 free throws. The lead is up to 19. So into the game now, Calvin Temple over to Wesley. Wesley, I think they're going to work on some zone for Irvine. It's a 2-3 zone, and Wesley penetrates, chance for 3, but can't get it to drop. And the foul against Austin Johnson, who was backing up. Boy, Johnson with his second personal foul, but a career best 10 points. He also has 7 rebounds in this game. A 36-21 rebounding advantage for UCI. And Wesley at the line. Let's see if he can make 2 out of 2. Velp comes back in. Colin Velp. Velp today with 12 and 3. And yesterday he had 11 points and 18 rebounds. 18 rebounds against Detroit Mercy. So Louisiana with some pressure, it's broken. Work you into the forecourt. He'll back it out, Velp. Isaiah Lee. They'll operate it now on the right side, Edgar. And Velp on the high post. They're trying to post up Rutherford. He's jostling inside with Jalen Johnson. And then the baseline jumper for Work-U is good. So those shots are going to fall for a team that's hitting 61% of its shots. Off the long miss, PJ Hardy's gone cold. And so have the Ragin' Cajuns, down by 19. There's Velp. The cutter is Rutherford, lays it up and one. What a game for Tommy Rutherford. Good interior passing. And the foul will go against Calvin Temple. And now Rutherford, on an afternoon in which he's 8 out of 9, has 17 points, looking to add to that. Can't make the free throws. Edgar Jr. pulls it down. Rutherford over to Lee. Lee penetration, dribble, cross court. Now good inside-outside game once again. Down low, Rutherford with the finish. 19 of the game for Tommy Rutherford. He's only missed 1 shot this afternoon. The 3-point bomb on the way, that's Julian, no. Long rebound. This game is all but done. Heat up the turkey, man. Let's move on to Thanksgiving. Deflected out of bounds and last touch by Calvin Temple. Chris Spenku comes in. Spenku, the freshman. Austin Okran comes in as well. Okran is an interesting story. We'll get into that in a second. Velp just backing down, turnaround jump hook from the baseline, rolls out. Velp gets his own rebound, then he loses it, and Kobe Julian comes up with it. Penetration drive, Julian off glass, falling down, can't get it to go. Irvine back the other way with 1:36. No look pass underneath, and Rutherford, he'll miss the dunk as he was fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line. That foul on Chris Spenku, the freshman from Miami. So that fast break again, just forcing the issue. Spenku. Well, the fans over there on the Louisiana side are upset. Rutherford can't buy a free throw. He's missed 3. But the story about Austin Oquan, who you see out there, he's wearing number 31. Interesting story. This past summer, his internship was on an oil rig. And so he missed a lot of the workouts with the team. He's just catching up and getting back into shape. But what did you do for your summer vacation? I just worked on an oil rig, you know, nothing too big. His dad actually played baseball at Louisiana back in the day, as they say, and he's a walk-on. 89-65. Temple. Malik Wilson back to Temple. Jump stop, fires up that jumper. No. And the rebound comes down to Devin Cole. They're still attacking. Anteaters are still attacking. They work it around, get it down to Velp. Back over to Lee. There's Velp, 3-point range, passes up the shot. High dribble, ducks under, throws up that shot, no. And the rebound comes down to Louisiana with under a minute to go. The dribble penetration by Calvin Temple. And we've got a foul. A foul against Velp. Wait, did I just see Kobe Julian just sit down on the bench? How many? 1. There's only 4 players out there for Louisiana. Oh, there's the 5th. It's hiding on the monitor. That would have been funny because he just ran to the bench and sat down. Take a little breather. Get the leg room now before he gets on that cheap plane flight. Just kidding. Oh, under a minute to go. 89-67 Irvine. Hope you've enjoyed everything this week here from Las Vegas. And there's Velp, 3-pointer, swish. He buries that. They're still chucking threes. They are still chucking threes late in the game. 92-67. The second half, Louisiana had cut the lead down to 3. Had cut it down to 3. That fadeaway no good by Calvin Temple. Game clock is down inside 13. Wilson, spin move. Wilson takes it all the way inside, throws it up, no, bounces out, and that'll do it. That'll do it. A 25-point blowout win for UC Irvine, a team that started off hot, went on an early 10-0 run, led 10-0, and then Louisiana just playing catch-up for the entire afternoon.